If, say, for instance, there is a person who is watering his garden and he doesn't realize that the water from his garden is seeping through to the neighbor's yard, causing havoc and causing harm. So in this case, it was unintentional. He doesn't know about it. And if that has happened, you have the right to highlight it. And you should. You don't just accept what's coming when you know that it's harmful. It might cause damage to your building or to your property. So because it's unintentional, it's excusable. This is called darar, where the person is watering his yard or garden and the water is seeping through without you or without that person knowing. And if he finds out, he would stop it. So all you do is you let him know that, you know what, the water is coming through and it's actually harming my building or it's causing harm to my property. So when there is darar, the person who is guilty of it, if they were to find out, they would stop it. That's darar. They would stop it immediately because they didn't want to do it. They didn't intend to harm you. And this happens a lot in our lives where people say things, do things without realizing the damage of some of these things. You know, sometimes I just give you a little example. People let out your plans, people let out certain things you want to do, you know, innocently. When we say this was an innocent mistake, that's darar. So you highlight it and inshallah the person would stop it. As for dirar, is say for example, you have had a problem or a difficulty with a neighbor, an argument, and the neighbor says, I will fix you. And then he starts watering his yard in a way that he knows the water is going to come into your property and damage your property. That's called dirar. The man is guilty. They are intentionally causing harm. You can, if you were to tell them, they would not stop it because they're doing it intentionally. That's the difference. Okay? In this particular case, you have the right to take it up with a higher authority. I give you another example. If a man says, I'm going to fix you, and then he turns on his generator so loudly at your wall in order to disturb you so that you and your family members don't even hear each other when you're speaking to each other, in that case, it's known as dirar. So, my brothers and sisters, it's important for us to know the difference between these two and to know how deep and vast this is. So the Prophet ﷺ has explained this to us. It would mean that the Sharia is based on this concept as well, which means in the Sharia, the laws are there in order to protect us from being harmed, be that harm intentional or unintentional. And if you were harmed intentionally, you are supposed to, or you have every right to take it up with authority, to take the person to task, report it to the police, perhaps, you know, do whatever you can in your capacity within what is permissible in the law to actually save yourself from that particular harm.